Hello, my name is Cole, and today I'd like to share with you a project that I am very excited about, Oxbow. Oxbow is a dynamic tiling window manager for the Wayland Compositor River. It's inspired by DWM, meaning it's got a master column and a stack column. It's got tags instead of workspaces. It's got a number of predefined layouts which automatically arrange your windows for you. These include the even layout, which you see here, diminish, dwindle, spiral, deck, and monocle. It's also got a scrolling layout, it's got a floating layout, and it's even got an Alt-Tab style overview to switch between windows across all tags. On top of that, it has scratch pads, sticky windows, a labeling system to label windows and outputs. It's got window swallowing, as well as regular expression based rules to configure windows, their initial tags, output, floating state, size and position, as well as a couple of other things. This all comes together through the oxctl program, which allows you to control windows, configure tags and such, to query the state of Oxbow, and it also provides a comprehensive event system so that programs such as Waybar, which you can see up here, can respond to changes in Oxbow's state. For example, if you notice in the middle here, the title of the windows changes as focus changes. The little tags on the left change as we focus and unfocus tags, or select and unselect tags. And in between that is the layout of the current tag gets updated as well. All that and more is included in Oxbow and is what I would like to go over and introduce you guys to in this video and in a couple of other ones. If that sounds interesting, go ahead and keep watching. I'm going to walk us through how to install Oxbow on a bare bones Arch Linux system, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that you'll notice here on the installation page of the documentation is that this is going to require River 0.4.6. That is included in Arch, in Fedora 45 and Rawhide, as well as in the unstable branch of Nix packages. For other systems, you'll want to check out the build instructions on River's Codeberg page to get River installed for your system. With that, let's take a look at what we need for Arch. We're going to need a couple of packages to install Oxbow. We're going to need base devel, we're going to need git, rsync, opam, lib, xkb common, and that is pretty much it. Back over in the VM, we can go ahead and install those packages. We can do that with sudo pacman -s base devel git rsync opam lib xkb common river, and then I'm going to install foot as my terminal emulator, but you can feel free to install whatever you prefer. All right, I'll go ahead and say yes to that. And we're all done. Perfect. The next step is going to involve that package we just installed, opam. Opam is the package manager for OCaml projects. Oxbow is an OCaml project, so that is where opam comes into the picture. Let's go ahead and get that started. And to do that, we're going to first run opam init. Opam init. And this is going to get things set up for us. And the first question it's asking us here is if we want to integrate opam into our shell. Basically, what this means, if we say yes, is that whenever we're running ZSH or bash or whatever shell we use, it's going to allow us to run oxbow or oxctl or other programs that we install via opam. I'm going to say yes to this to make my life easier. If you say no, that's totally fine. But you will have to run this eval opam env command before you run oxbow or oxctl or any of those programs to make sure that your environment is configured correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. We're going to let this do its thing. I'm going to uh, fast forward, and I will see you guys in just one moment. Okay, and we're back, and opam has been initialized. We are looking good. The next step is going to be installing oxbow itself. Now, oxbow is not yet in the opam repository, but I do have a pull request out to get this in there. For the time being, though, we can run opam pin add oxbow and then the git URL to get us set up. So let's go ahead and do that with opam pin add oxbow https://github.com/3l0c/oxbow.git. Okay, and this is going to take a second or two to install as well. I'm going to say yes, and I will be back with you guys once that is completed. Okay, and we're back. The next step is going to be down here on the documentation page, shell completion. This just makes using the oxctl program a lot better, in my opinion. There's completions for bash and zsh. I'm going to follow the zsh instructions. I'm going to modify my zshrc by adding this line before comp init. So let's hop back over. Vim zshrc. And as we can see down here, just to quickly point out, this is the line it added when we initialized opam. Here is that comp init line. So just above that, I'm going to add fpath plus equals, and then opam var share. Just double checking that. Yep. Slash zsh slash site functions. Close parentheses, and we should be good. Let me go ahead and source the zsh config. I'm going to run that eval opam env command real quick, just to make sure everything is synced up. So we'll go opam, eval opam env. Okay, and with that, if I do oxctl version, boom, that looks good. And if I do oxctl and hit tab, boom, I've got my tab completion. Okay, awesome. So that takes care of the install. Next, we are gonna go to configuring River. So River is configured through an init script under .config/river. And in our case, we just need a couple of lines to get us up and running. Let's go ahead and create that file. Mkdir -p.config river, and then we can make our init script river init. And if we look at the script here, it's real simple. Just bin sh eval opam env. Now we do need this line in the script because this is a script and not an interactive shell. The line that opam init added to our zsh config earlier is only applicable when we are running the shell interactively. Whenever we're not, we need this little snippet here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Bin sh eval opam env, And then the last part is just going to be exec oxbow. Boom. We'll go ahead and save that. We can do chmod plus x river init. And now the script is executable. And the next part is going to be very similar, but for oxbow itself. And oxbow does the same thing as river. It runs an init script at startup that is under .config oxbow init. So let's go ahead and make that directory. Okay, dir .config oxbow. And we're going to create a pretty similar file with the same bin sh line at the top, as well as eval opam env. But in our case, instead of executing oxbow, we're going to run a bind command so that we have super plus return to spawn foot. If you installed a different terminal emulator, you can go ahead and change foot to whatever it was you installed. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that file. Oxbow init. Bin sh eval opam env, and then the bind command oxctl bind spawn foot to super plus return. Okay, perfect. I'll go over the bind syntax in just a little bit, but for now, we'll go ahead and just put that in the file and trust that it works. I'm going to make that executable with chmod plus x .config oxbow init. Perfect. And the next step is actually just starting river. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of the default binds so that we kind of know what we're doing once we get in there. And a couple of useful ones are going to be super plus j is going to navigate to the next window in the stack. Super plus k, the previous window. Super plus q is going to close the focused window. And super shift q is going to exit the session. It's going to return us to our greeter or TTY, wherever we just came from. So let's hop over and we can go ahead and run river and super enter. We're getting our windows. Awesome. Super Q closes our windows. And super J goes down the stack. Super K goes back up. And we do wrap around at the head. So if we kept pressing super J, we just go around in circles. Okay, awesome. If we take a look at some of the other keybinds, we can see there's 3 keybinds to switch between layouts. By default, we're in the tiling layout. We can also switch to scrolling with super S. We can switch to the floating layout with super F, and we can go back to tiling with super T. So let's go ahead and try those out. So scrolling, tiling, and floating. In the floating layout here, windows basically just stay where they are in the tiling layout, but we can resize them. To move them around and resize, we use super and left mouse button. To resize, super and right mouse button. And if we switch back to the tiling layout, it goes back to tiling, go back to floating, and we get our floating windows back. Okay, cool. And with that, we pretty much are ready to start exploring. I'm not going to do all the exploring for you. I want you guys to kind of learn and explore yourselves. But one thing I do want to show is how to bind a key. Go over the syntax of that a little bit so that you guys can be productive in that regard. And let's see, what do we want to bind? Well, one thing that's not bound by default is the ability to toggle an individual window between the floating and tiling state. And if we do super and left mouse button, we can pick this window up out of its tiling position, but we don't actually have a way to get it back into the tiling position with a keybind. Instead, what we have to do is run oxctl, and if I hit tab, I can see the, I'll make this window a little bit bigger. I can see the options, and one of those options is window, so operating on a window, and we'll do that. See our other options. I can toggle a particular window state, so I'll do toggle, and then I can toggle a couple of attributes. The one we're looking for is the floating state. So I can put floating here, and now when I run that command, the window goes in between tiled and floating. Now, adding that to the system as a keybind is pretty simple. Let's take a look at the reference documentation here. And I find this is a little bit more helpful on the web because there's some useful links, but you can also use the man page as well to read a little bit more about this. The basic syntax, as we saw earlier in our uh, example, was to bind spawn foot to, and then this keybind right here, super plus return. And the first part, in between bind and to, is the command. So we can bind basically any command that we can run with oxctl. It can be bound in this fashion. And that's pretty straightforward. Um, you can actually, even if you're doing it interactively, if I were to do oxctl bind, I can tab complete and I can see window, and like I did before, window toggle, floating. So you can even get that that tab complete there if you're not sure of the bind syntax. You can do that interactively before you put it in your config. As far as the keybinds themselves go, that's going to be made up of two parts, either 0 or more modifiers, and those modifiers come in the form of shift, control, uh, mod1 slash alt, mod 3, mod 4 slash super slash logo, like the Windows key, as well as mod 5. The other part, and if you give one or more mods, you're going to need to combine those with the plus character. For the other part, the actual button that's being bound, that's going to be a key sim, like on your keyboard, or a pointer button. And those pointer buttons are all listed right here. Button left, left mouse button, right, middle, etc. As far as the key sims themselves go, those are going to be found in this link under XKB Common. You can scroll through here. If you're not sure what your key is, you can find it right here. If you're not sure how to find it or what it actually is, you can do a Control F and say, I want to search for the key 1. I can see here there's a XKB key KP1, but if I scroll up a little bit, I can see that these are keypad numbers, and that might work for me. I might want to bind it to a keypad 1, but if I want the more general, just 1 at the top of my home row, if I keep going down, we can see this is the digit 1. It's just a individual 1. Same for 2 through 9. And when you're looking at that file, anything that you have after the XKB underscore key underscore part, that's what we're going to use as the key sim at the command line. So going back to our VM here, we've got oxctl bind, window toggle floating, and then the last part to the literal to, and then we're going to bind this. In my case, I'm going to bind it to super plus shift plus space. I'll go ahead and hit enter. And now if I do super shift space, I go in and out of floating. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and add that to the config file. so that that is here upon or for sessions in the future. And I'll just put it in here just like I did before. Window toggle floating to super shift space. Okay, perfect. I'll save that. And I can show you here if I exit the session, go back into River, spawn my windows, and I do super shift space. I'm looking good. Okay. And I think that is pretty much gonna do it for me in this one. This should, kind of whet the palate, get you interested in Oxbow. Um, yeah, I'm assuming you're interested if you're still watching. But there's a lot of other things that are pretty cool about Oxbow, in my opinion. Things that, at least for me, make it very useful, and I hope for others as well, if not at the very least interesting. If you aren't interested in Oxbow, but you are interested in this river part, river, as I kind of glossed over, is the backbone of Oxbow. It handles the compositor side of things, the low level Wayland protocols that pretty much every window manager requires. River takes care of that. Super grateful to Isaac and everybody that's been working on River. This is an amazing project. But if you want to take advantage of this and try to write your own window manager, go ahead and take a look at Tiny RWM, which has a number of examples in different languages showing how you can get a very minimal window manager up and running in just a few hundred lines of code. If you are just, interested but not interested in Oxbow specifically, or you want to check out other options, go ahead and take a look at the list of window managers on River's webpage or wiki. They've got a ton of options. A couple that I found really illustrative when I was working on, well, I've been working on Oxbow is KWM. Really polished, wonderful window manager here. Another one is Reka, which is a sort of take on EXWM. So it's an Emacs based window manager. I do want to check that one out. That one looks very cool. There's a number of other ones as well. So go ahead, check out Oxbow, check out something else, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, in the next video, I'm going to go over some more oxctl commands that I think will be useful to people that are, trying to use Oxbow day to day. I'm also going to have a video on Waybar and how to integrate Oxbow and Waybar together so that you've got, sort of this comprehensive system. You don't just have a couple of windows floating in the ether. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. Really appreciate your time. Love you. Bye bye.